Charles. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Hi everyone, welcome to today's edition of the Inside Out Show. Today we're discussing this thing called marriage. Big topic, huh, Charles?
Yes, I can't wait for also dig deep because I have a very, very funny view as regards this. But yeah, you look nice, by the way.
Thank you.
I like your
styled
dress.
myself.
Very nice. Styled yourself?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm jealous.
I'm learning work.
Yeah, learning from me. I'll be right down.
Okay. My audience, how are we? Awesome. Right, lovely. Great to have you here. So, 21st century marriage, drama. You get married today, you divorce tomorrow, and then you have all of you. You remember this video that Arita sent us, a clip, actually, a text. I think it was from Instablog or so that Arita sent us online about this woman who says that I love my husband so much. I cook, I clean, I do this, I do that, everything for him. Nobody has to cook for him. So we got to this question, where is the limit? Now, this is a woman who has been married for like 30-something years. Yes. And then that versus the modern day marriage that you get 2 years down the line. You're like, you know what, I can't deal with this man anymore. Done. I can't cook, I can't clean, I can't. Where do you draw the line? This thing called marriage. A marriage is so big that it's either you're in it or you're hoping to get in it, or you're indifferent about it.
Or you don't care about it like me.
Or you don't care about it.
Sure, whatever.
It's going to be a very hot discussion. When we come back, you get to meet our panelists. This is the Inside Out Show. Welcome. Inside Out Show. I'm Sandra Eze, and thank you so much for joining us. On today's episode, like I said before the break, we are discussing this thing called marriage. Marriage is such a big word. It's a word that we all can relate to. It's either you're in it, or you're hoping to get into it, or you're indifferent. But either way, somehow we're all connected in this issue called marriage, this union called marriage. So to help us just break it down and help us understand our faults as much as we can, I have my panelists here, starting first with Annabelle Onyekachi, who is an on-air personality. Thank you. I love your jacket. Moving on to Mr. Taiwo Olani, who is an entrepreneur. Thank you for being here. And finally, Mrs. Jinma Mobi, who is a marriage counselor. Thank you. Okay, so you being a marriage counselor, I'll start with you first. What is it about marriage that makes us have sleepless nights or just want to kill ourselves over this issue, this thing called marriage? What is it? What is the hula below about?
Okay. When you say kill ourselves, maybe we're talking about the ugly narratives, the marriages that are not working. And I need us to understand that in spite of all the ugly marriages and the stories we hear, there are still marriages that are working. So what is the difference between the marriage that isn't working and the one that is working? It's about the people being in the marriage, understanding what it takes to make a marriage work. And like I will say, the major issue that causes conflict in marriages is ignorance. If you're able to get knowledge about yourself, about your spouse, about the building techniques of marriage, about what we call the enemies of marriage or the things that will want to war against you, you are on the path to having a very successful and happy marriage. So the whole noise you're hearing about the ugly narrative of marriage, it's about people who have not gone in to study what really marriage is and how to make their marriages work.
Okay, Annabelle, let's hear from you. What's your view of marriage?
Personally, I'd say I think marriage is a beautiful thing, first of all, but there's so much, just like you rightly said, hula baloo about it, which I don't think is really necessary. Fine, if you want to get married, that's cool. If you don't want to get married, I don't think
cool. That should be fine as well.
Yes, that's fine as well. I mean, it's a personal opinion. It's not compulsory. It's not something that, it's not you do or die. After all, even in the Bible, marriage is not even meant for everybody. I could decide not to get married today. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to live a fulfilled life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Before now, I used to tell myself I wasn't going to get married. Like, I'd rather have a child and then get a good job and take care of myself, take care of my baby. And that's that. because I don't want to like maybe have somebody I have to like babysit all the time. And you know, there's so much stress that comes with getting married. Just like you said, being a career lady, you have to cook. Trust me, girl, it's not an easy thing at all. You have to cook, you have to clean, you have to wash, you have to take care of your husband, you have to be at home at a certain time, you have to act a certain type of way, and then you have to make babies as well. You have all the stretch marks, a lot of responsibilities. You understand what I'm saying? And then most times these guys don't even understand, they don't even appreciate these things that we do for them, because they just feel like it's just about you getting married, and then you start like playing the role of a wife. Someone
said in the African society that when a man gets married to you, it's as if they're doing you a favor.
Exactly, because I think it's even the women that are actually making it that way, because when you reach a certain age, you see the girls, they're like, oh my goodness, I want to get married, I want to be like this, I want to be like that. And it's as if you're living your life just because you want to get married. It's like a trophy at the end of the day. Do you get? You don't sit down, you don't, map out strategies on how to get better, how to do things for your own self. All you're thinking about is getting married. Like, once you get married, you've gotten to heaven already. I mean, I don't know what the case is all about.
So, how are you married?
I am.
Okay. Newlywed?
No, 10 years.
Okay, married for what's your view on marriage?
Honestly, I think she said everything needs to be said. She said share value. People need to really understand themselves before they go into this. And I think one of the bane is inadequate courtship. I'm a proponent of deep courtship, including sex before marriage.
You're in support of sex before marriage?
Yes, I'm a proponent of that. I support it in every ramification. Cohabit, spend weekends, not the religious aspect of it. Live
together. You support that as well?
Like yes, a couple of days. Okay. At least every courtship should last for at least 12 months before considering the conjugation. So if that is done, people tend to understand themselves better and know if they can actually cohabit in peace, because that's the aim of the whole thing, to live in peace. Living in peace means I must tolerate your own excesses, you must tolerate my own excesses. I must add value to you in different aspects, depending on how I want to view it. That's my take on it.
Before I get to you, Mrs. Dima, I would like you to react to what he just said. Because truth is, I had to ask him again to be sure I got it right. Nigeria, we're a very religious society. Okay. Right? A lot of people have sex outside of marriage, but it's like a taboo. You don't come out and say it. So for you, Taiwo, to come out and say that you're in support of sex before marriage and living together, I know a lot of people watching right now who are like, eh? So can you please address that?
The living together does not mean indefinite, but at least they should be able to have weekends together, talking of 2, 3, 4 days without any third-party interference. Not come with a brother or a sister in the Lord.
For the 12 months period they are dating and
so beyond. Weekends, yes. See yourself. You want to see her when you wake up in the morning. She wants to see you. You want to know how reluctant you could be to get up in bed. How you fixed up shawls. How early do you stand up to brush. You know, those reluctance. How do you hang your hundies even at night? Those are the fundamentals.
Mrs. Mobi, do you agree with him?
What I'm picking for what Taiwo is saying is that the people who are in relationships should spend time together to understand themselves. That's what once I saw a joke on social media where a guy said he woke up on his wedding night and the next morning and he didn't recognize his wife because she was without makeup and all of that. Why I understand that people should be open and communicate and discuss with their partners before marriage. I want to tread a little differently with talking about premarital sex. I work with adults, I work with children, and I can tell you for a fact that we have a lot of people who are going through deep emotional issues, people who have had their self-esteem battered, and a lot of such psychological issues stemming from multiple sex partners. So, for example, you say that the person should get involved in sex before marriage to know, some people say, to know if they're sexually compatible. Also, what if you're not other things, because it's not only sex that makes marriage work. There are a whole lot of things involved in marriage that is beyond sex. Otherwise, if it's just sex, you understand? So what if while you're in that relationship, you're finding out that there are many other things you're not compatible with? Now you've slept with this person, you're carrying that with you to another relationship. And by the time you do this on and on, you have multiple sex partners, and I tell you, the psychological effects are best imagined. So I would say, get to know your partner, but I don't advocate premarital sex.
Coming up next on the show.
Bad stories sells faster than good stories. So if someone comes online and says, my husband beats me 20 times a day, that is what will go viral.
The marriage cannot make you happy. If you need companion, like he said, you could easily get a companion. You could easily get somebody that you could be with without even being married to that person.
Somebody, if a gamophobia threatened person, if you live with me for just one weekend, you consider marriage as an option.
Why are you nodding your head?
What is marriage? To me, marriage is not important. Marriage is a waste. Marriage is stress. Marriage is so much noise. I feel it's overrated. I've sat myself down and I've asked myself, why is marriage important? So I did like an opinion poll, and people, what I got to hear mostly was, oh, companionship and children. And I asked myself, if I need companionship, I can get that without being married. If I need children, that's the easiest part of it. And then you see that people get married, you know, even the ones who are 10, 20, 30, 40, if you live with them, you will be marveled. I know a couple who have been married for, 50 years, but they live like strangers in their house. Exactly. I know people who have been married, 2, 3, and they jump out of it. I know someone who, actually, a friend of mine, personal friend, she got married for 2 months and ran away. So I'm asking myself, is this important? It's a waste. It's not, I mean, I can do anything. And I feel you're even more productive when you're not married. I mean, there are less things to worry about. As a man having to run home because there's a woman and children at home, you can actually stay in the office and make, you know, some more money and drop some more proposals. As a career lady, instead of thinking of what to cook and how to wake the kids up, you have time to think of, well, what next do I need to do to make more money and, you know, build my career? I mean, it's just too much stress. And I'm yet to see anybody who would change my mind on that, honestly.
So I see both of you like twisting your faces. Who do I go
totally
for?
agree with him.
Yeah, because he totally agrees with
you.
Okay,
You are coming from the same angle, so that's why you agree with
okay, let me hear from you.
I think we're dwelling on the negative aspect of it alone. The stress.
No, companionship is the good aspect of it. Children is the beautiful aspect of it.
We've been sharing have been statistics
about the negativity.
There are also people who have been 70 years married and they are living well. There are also people who have been married for 10 years.
So what is the secret to that? Because people who have been married for 70 years, they've been married for a long period of time.
Yes,
but somehow this 21st century kind of marriage, you go online, at least the ones we see online, it's like I'm married today and then 2 years down the line, we're divorced. Or 3 years down the line, you know what, I'm not getting married again. Or you bring your drama on social media. Something is not right.
People have been having marital issues since creation started. But with social media, the world is becoming smaller. So you get to hear about it, and it looks like, and you know, there's this thing about people not being secure in themselves. When you talk about your success stories, society makes it look like, oh, you're beating your own drum, you're talking about all that. People, we're in a country where a lot of people are pained. So we always want to look for stories. Let me tell you something. Bad stories sells faster than good stories. So if someone comes online and says, my husband beats me 20 times a day, that is what will go viral. As against someone coming to say we're enjoying marriage. So I don't want us to begin to feed the growing generation of only the negative aspects of marriage. While I understand that there are people struggling in their marriages, I have them walk into my counseling sessions regularly, there are also people who are enjoying marriage. And like I told you, the difference between these two people is them growing their awareness on the parts where they are ignorant. Ignorance is the biggest cause of marital issues. I mean, talk about communication. If you do not understand how your partner wants to be communicated to, you will have issues communicating.
But do you think that people who've had their marriages last for maybe 50 years or thereabout, do you think they get that right? Because I've seen a couple that till date, they're having challenges with communication. But
Everyone
like,
has challenges. Let me tell you, the
marriage.
difference between a marriage working and the one not working is what you choose to do with what happens. We'll all have challenges. It is how I deal with my challenge that makes a difference between the couple who say this challenge will break us up and the other couple who say, what is the big picture? Why are we in this marriage together? There is nobody, no man, no woman born of any woman that can make you happy. You choose to be happy. Your husband can make you happy without without you. You can make your husband happy without you. So it's not about, oh, let somebody come fulfill all of my desires. Nobody can fulfill all of your desires.
I will tell you, I bet you that if you would go to perhaps the crusade right now, or maybe to church, and you hear the pastor say, you are receiving your husband this month, you would be amazed at the thunderous amen you would hear. And if you ask a couple of these women, they would tell you, I'm not happy. I need to get married. Marriage is, to them, it's like marriage is their happiness. So to you, Annabelle, do you feel you can live a happy, successful, fulfilled life without adding marriage to the picture? Not that if it comes, you won't, accept it. But even if it doesn't come, can you still be a happy, whole person?
Totally. As long as I have what is making me, like she said, nobody can actually make you happy. You make your own self happy. Happiness comes from within and it radiates out there, and then people see it and then they know you're happy. It's not about the marriage. The marriage cannot make you happy. If you need companion, like he said, you could easily get a companion. You could easily get somebody that you could be with without even being married to that person. Do you get what I'm saying? So I believe that you can stay by yourself. You can stay on your own, and you can still live a very fulfilled life and a very happy one.
Taiwo, let's hear.
I agree. If you want companionship without being married, you can get. But one thing we're living out is companionship with real bond, emotional bond. That emotional bond usually comes with conjugality, especially when people understand themselves deep.
I think is that really the essence of marriage, companionship with emotional bond? Because I have seen a couple, they are not married, they are dating, they've been dating for about 4 years, and they are so together. This one is not an Instagram picture. Okay. This one, I know them, and they are so together. Like if you are your wife, then you probably be jealous of them. Yeah.
Outward picture. Talking about the real happiness, like one of the things Charles opposed and herself is people just tend to stay in it because they want to remain in it. Exactly. They don't want this thing of, oh, she's divorced again. So let's just remain strange partners.
And I think, I'm sorry, let me just say this out. I think, just like he was saying, another thing is the stress being put on women, especially in this part of the world. Like she was saying that about couples who are married for like over 70 years or something like that. I think that cannot, I'm not even saying that in this generation. I'm saying that like in the days of my grandmothers, do you get, when they have their mothers sit them down and tell them, make them believe that the trophy for them is to be married and stay married and bear children. And then I remember something my grandma was like, if you're like in those days, when you're married, before you get married and you're slim, you're expected to grow fat after you're married. That would show that your husband is rich, like he's taking good care of you. But if they see you that you're slim, they're like, oh, your husband is taking care of you. What's going on? You're not eating. It feels like you're not being well taken care of. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think it's the pressure that is being put on women here that you must be married. So right from childhood, they've started telling us these things that, oh, you're going to get married someday, you're going to live with your husband, you're going to start bearing children, all of that. So we have that in our mindset that, okay, when you reach a certain age, you need to be married. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you grow up with that ideology, the first thing that comes to your mind once you're approaching 25, 26 is, oh, I need to start looking for somebody to marry me. I need to get married. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
There are still a few good men. Irrespective of the fact that there are lots of negativities around marriage, there are still a few good men, which I am number one of them. A few good men because I know it can't work all the way for everybody. But when this principle of study yourselves properly, engage in everything, all ramifications you can think of, including sex, I'll hammer it on this again, including sex, and you are a liberal person, I am extremely magnanimous. I support my wife to the peak of whatever she can do. If whoever has a bad opinion about marriage, it's not a do or die affair, because that's the thing that is put in our subconscious as Africans. It's not a do or die affair, I agree with that. But if you're if you're a gamophobia, threatened person, if you live with me for just one weekend, you consider marriage as an option.
Wow. All right, we will go on the break, Charles. We'll go on the break, and when we come back, this is the Inside Out Show, and we are discussing this thing called marriage. Is it all that? We'll be right back.
Coming up next on the show.
Why is it that traditional marriage lasted longer than recent marriages?
The traditional marriages were not even more enjoyable than this, but they endure more.
It's like this person is my life and soul, and I need to be with this person and be happy. Yeah? And then you're telling me I need to dive daily now?
For you to be in any relationship, whether work relationship, whether you're just meeting somebody on the street, you must die to something daily.
The reason
in your
why
office, excuse me.
Okay, welcome back. It's still the Inside Out Show. Charles, fun to hear from you.
It's enough that we hustle every day. It's enough that we suffer every day to get, daily bread and all of that. And you're telling me now, she said something that hit me. She said in marriage, you have to die daily. Not the word. You have to die every day. And then you have to be blind. I consider that too much endurance. I consider it suffering. I consider it ridiculous. Why would I enter into something with so much joy? I mean, you see the joy on a couple's faces on the wedding day. It's like this person is my life and soul, and I need to be with this person and be happy. Yeah? And then you're telling me I need to dive daily now? I need to be, it's enough that I go through a lot on a daily basis as a single person, but I'm entering into a companionship, I beg your pardon. And then the idea of a companionship in my head is, I need someone to be with me to create more happiness. And then you're saying again that I can only make I don't know, I can only make myself
Mrs. Mobi,
happy.
Could you please explain what you mean by die daily?
Yes, what I said, I think it was explanatory enough, but I want to continue from where he stopped. What's your name, please?
Charles.
Charles,
yes,
are you a perfect person?
No, nobody's perfect.
So for you to be in any relationship, whether work relationship, whether you're just meeting somebody on the street, you must die to something daily. In your office, excuse me, where you're working, you have colleagues who have different perspective about life to you. Have you walked out of your workplace?
No,
you find a way to tolerate them. You find a way to keep your eyes focused on the reason why you're in the organization, right?
Yes, yes.
All of that also applies in marriage. So you're not dying any new death in marriage, different from the one you're already dying daily. When you have a superior in the office, there are sometimes you feel she talks to you or he talks to you in a way you don't like. You don't walk out of the office. What do? You re-strategize on how to better take charge of yourself and then work with the person no matter how difficult the person is. Do you quit your job because you have a difficult boss?
No.
It's the same dying.
Can I answer that quickly? Now that scenario is a 9 to 5, so I have some hours to rethink and reboot and come back happy the next day.
When you step out of the 9 to 5, hold on. You step out of the 9 to 5. Probably you're in traffic. Hold on. I will tell you how you die every day, 24 hours. Now you're saying it's 9 to 5, right? So you step out of the office. Is either you're going to drive yourself, or you're going to pick a cab, or something. You're still going to meet some crazy human being out there who thinks differently from Charles. So if you're in traffic and you want to change lane, the person in front of you is trying to just bump into you. You're not going to come out and hit him and say to hell with you. Yes. You are dying.
Exactly.
Daily.
You're
making sacrifices already.
You
can't trying to single out marriage, forgetting that even in relating with human beings in life, you already dying daily.
Yes, we can't do away with things like this. So but why would I go through the usual everyday dying daily and then want to die forever?
So why do you want to die in the office and not die at home?
Yes.
What is, two questions, right? One, what is the real essence of marriage? I'm asking you as a man because he is a man, right? What is the real essence of marriage? I mean, it's rare to see women who are not so bummed up about marriage, just like you, Annabelle. But then it's easier to see men who are not interested. I'm not shocked at his opinion. I've seen a lot of people, I've heard a lot of guys talk about it. So what is the real essence of marriage to a man? What would make a man get married? Yeah.
It's a multifaceted thing.
Please take us all round.
All round.
You can't. It's just one person.
The companionship, kids, emotional bond, happiness, and of course, mutual trust and share of your bodies. Those are the main fundamentals I can pick on now. But if we have to break it down, it's cut across a wider range than I've just spotted. Having those things in place, and when it works perfectly, gives you a more fulfilled life than the perspective Charles is taking it from.
A more fulfilled life.
A more fulfilled life. Charles has seen one aspect of it. For you to make good comparison, it's good that he sees the other aspect. If he bumps into a marriage, a perfect one, I would want to use that word, or in quote, a perfect one. Maybe no 100% perfect one, but a really peaceful one like mine. So peaceful that...
You should hang around him, Charles. Like mine.
I don't know about yours. I'm not interested. It's so peaceful that in 10 years, there's not been acrimonious argument, which is normal that people, you fall out, you have differences over a few things sometimes. But I'm talking of real bitter acrimony with strong animosity. It's never happened in 10 years.
Okay. So the thing now being, what is the difference between, why is it that more traditional marriages work than the modern marriage? Like, example of traditional marriage is you cook, you clean, you maybe become a housewife, or you open a business, go to your shop, work for 5 hours and come back, take care of the family, versus the new 21st century marriage where you're working, your husband is waking up at 4 a.m., you're waking up at 4 a.m., he's hitting the road by 5:30, you're hitting the road at 6 o'clock, he's coming back 9 p.m., you're coming back 7 p.m. What is the difference? Why is it that traditional marriage lasted longer than, recent marriages?
The traditional marriages were not even more enjoyable than this, but they endure more because of that subconscious mentality planted that you just have to keep. So you have to. Charles, I didn't use the words. I didn't use the words of and smiling. You have to remain in it because they say it as sacrilege pulling out, especially those from the east. Woo! Why will you? The modern ones, for people who really understand and no wants to make it work, there are ways you bend things. My wife is a career woman, I'm not a personal like you. She consumes more time, I want to use that word, than I do. Being an entrepreneur, I have a reasonable number of control over my movement, over the days I get engaged and the days I don't get engaged. And as much as possible, I plan this around the family, especially the kids. I do most of their pick-up, drop-off, and stuff because I'm able to plan because of my own nature of job.
And that's not a problem for you at all?
It's not a problem at all. In fact, I enjoy doing it.
Enjoy doing it.
And I have people...
There. How many of you are out there? Do you get what I'm saying? Because a typical traditional Nigerian,
I am not. I'm liberal-minded.
That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't want to do all that. I know a man like, okay, in my past relationship, I was with his younger brother came, just like you said, like when you're dating, you should live together. So I was doing that kind of thing, and his younger brother came to the house, and then he ate. And then he was supposed to take his dish off to the kitchen. Do you know what? He left it there for me. And I was like, take your plate. And we were even age mates. Take your plates out. I was like, no. In my tradition, I'm supposed to take his plates out. I'm like, are you kidding me? You can imagine that kind of a thing. So just imagine the kind of husband he's going to be.
And you're not even married to the brother yet.
I'm not even married. And we're not even together anymore. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're just dating. So maybe like over the weekend, I just go to pay a visit and that kind of a thing. And what I'm trying to say is, imagine that guy, the kind of husband he's going to make tomorrow when he gets married. He's going to be the very, very controlling type. Do you understand? Because the wife,
But
he's not as liberal as you are.
I have a twist to that. What you said is valid because it's an experience you've had. But you see something, when we're talking, I kind of see that we're making some generalizations here.
Okay.
So, Taiwo has shared his experience, which is on the good side. She is sharing her experience here. There's a danger to isolate these experiences and make it what is happening. Because before you can say that there are no men out there, I mean, the last time that we had...
We haven't said there are no men out
she's
there.
She's saying that how many men are like Taiwo?
Yeah, how many men are like
be
as liberal as he is?
As many men that are like Taiwo, as well as there are men who are not like Taiwo. So the fact that somebody has this perspective about marriage doesn't rule out the fact that there are also men who have healthier perspectives about marriage. And it's on us to begin to change the narrative. Because you take it back to our homes, we still see people in this time and age who are raising their daughters to be domesticated and the little boys are left to go play football. We are still on that same vicious circle where the guy thinks the girl should serve him. But if you raise your children to understand that human beings eat, human beings do house chores, your child will grow like that and not wait like your ex-partner's brother for you to wait on him. So it's how we have been raised.
We'll go on the break. This is the Inside Out Show. When we come back,
If you
this
marry
discussion
under
on this thing
customary
called
law,
marriage continues. Stay with us.
Coming up next on the show.
Marriage is a good thing. Take it or leave it. Then I will say the problem is not the marriage. The problem is the people in the marriage.
So share with us the
It's a
good
beautiful
angle, the
thing.
good view you have of marriage.
The good view I have of marriage is
You're thinking.
it's just hold. It's just beautiful when you see two people who are in love, you know, that kind of thing.
Marriage is two people coming together to support each other to become the best that they can ever be.
Welcome back, everyone. This is still the Inside Out Show, and we're discussing the topic, this thing called marriage. Before we went on a break, Mrs. Mobi, you were making a point. Could you please finish that before we get on to what's going on social media?
A lady from my place, my mother was telling me the story.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. She had a husband who was maltreating her. And then she brought the case before the, they call it Umunna in Igbo land. That is the kindred of her husband. And so when they asked her, they said, does he feed you? She said, yes. Does he take care of the children? She said, yes. Does he do that? So why are you here? Say, come on, go back to your home and go and live with your husband. Because she brought a case of infidelity. And so at that time, you didn't have a voice to even register your displeasure with what the man was doing because the man was seen as king. So as we're advancing, people are becoming more aware of their rights. People are beginning to take more ownership of their essence. It has the good sides because now we're raising whole people, we're raising daring people. It could also have its downside. That is where parenting comes in play. Whereas you're raising your children to be confident, you're also teaching them life skills. You're also teaching them social skills. You're also teaching them ability to make choices. You're also creating room for them to fail and learn from it. Because I tell you, as we're advancing, we will also have that.
Annabelle, I'd like you to share with us at least, I mean, I think a lot of us feel that you have a negative view of marriage, which I know is not it, right? You're just not bent on marriage is my entire life.
I don't have
marriage as my entire life.
I don't have a negative view.
Annabelle doesn't just want to make it a do or die affair.
No, I don't have a negative view on it. Like I said, even before I started saying anything, I said
so
marriage.
Share with us the good
angles,
angles, the good view you have of marriage.
The good view I have of marriage is
you're thinking.
It's just beautiful when you see two people who are in love, you know, that kind of thing, and then they decide to take it a step further by getting married and all of that. It's very beautiful. I'm not there in the marriage. I don't know what goes on because there's a lot of fakes out there. You see them, they fight at home and then they come outside. They act. Okay, I'll give you an example. Where I live, there was we had this meeting, like tenants meeting, that kind of, and we're trying to. Okay, it's a new house, new block of flats, and then everybody was coming. I was like a get acquainted kind of meeting, and then we started introducing ourselves, and then this lady, they asked her, "What's your name?" And she was like, I am Mrs. Tosin. You understand? And the person who was asking her was like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. She was like, I am Mrs. Tosin, the husband's name. So she dragged the Mrs. for everybody, because almost everybody were all singles. You understand? Where I'm like, I'm Annabelle, aka Prada, and then this boy's like, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that. And then she was like, I am Mrs. for all the females there. So I just pinched my friend. I was like, you go fear Mrs. now. You know that kind of a thing? I'm like, I think, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to make me feel inferior, or you're trying to make me feel less of myself because you're, to hell with you and your Mrs. Who cares about that? I wanted to be understand.
But you know now let's raise this up. Let's bring this. Let's talk about this domestic violence. A lot of women are going through it, and even men are going through domestic violence as well. Now the thing is, most people would say, I don't believe in divorce, you know, I don't think it's an option, but when your life is on the line, you may have to find a way out, right? But the way we have built marriage is such that I am willing to live and die in this. My husband is beating me, I can't leave, or my wife is not treating me well, I can't leave. Why? Because I don't know what the society is going to say, or I don't know if I can be happy outside of this. You know, you as a marriage counselor, you get a lot of that. Can we talk about that, please? Why are people willing to die in marriage instead of opting for a way out, especially in cases of domestic violence?
Okay. I need us to understand that any system that doesn't have a free entry and free exit is a cult. And so if you're in a relationship and your life is at stake, you don't need to rationalize it. The first thing you do is to pack yourself. You might not even have enough time to gather your load. You just pack yourself and get to a place of safety. You need to be alive to be married.
Of course.
And so if you are in any relationship, it's not even marriage, it's surprising that people are dating and they are being abused physically, and some rationalize it that it means he loves me, he's trying to correct me,
or he's jealous,
or
he's
jealous, you know, some crazy stuff like that.
Theory.
You need to get to a place of safety because you need to be alive. So what I tell people who are in abusive relationships, first of all, the government has, Lagos State, for example, has the department for
Speed dial for domestic violence.
So you go make a report there. And when you make a report, the man is expected to come file a report and write some undertaking about anything happening to you and all that. And so you have sometimes what you need to even make the man stand up to consciousness, or woman, because there are also women that abuse, is we want to cover it up. We don't want maybe the stigma, or they say bring your family story to the public, and so you want to cover it. Sometimes even the exposure could be what will make the man get his acts together. If that is not enough, please, if you're in any abusive relationship, you need to separate. You need to go to a place of safety and stay alive while you're mediating on the case. And you said something about not standing for divorce. I don't stand for divorce either, but we must come to realize that there are some marriages that the people involved in it can only get their lives back if the marriage ends. And if it comes to that,
all right. Okay. So on this note, you know what? We're going to have questions, and then you can as well address the issues. But before then, Charles, let's have social media comments. Facebook.
We put up a post and we said, "Is marriage so important after all?" And we had pretty interesting comments. Now, Josh says, "Yes, it is. To me, apart from expressing love and fulfilling Bible's counsel to reproduce, it gives one a sense of responsibility and seriousness, and it helps align one's thoughts towards positivity and helps you increase your team effectiveness. Above all, it's beautiful, lovely, and honorable." Everest says, "Yes, when married to the right partner." Paul says, okay, I didn't get that. Abayomi says, "It is, provided you are fortunate to marry a wife and not a mate. There is a dimension of depth of fulfillment one attains in the right marriage that one cannot attain," I disagree, "as a single." Allah says, "It is, even the Almighty God created Adam and Eve so that they can be married together, so it is very important." Can I ask a question real fast, please? I want to ask you, there are a conservative few, you know, men especially, who feel, you know what, when I'm married to you, there's no need for you to go and do anything. I mean, I dictate what you do and how you make your movements and all. And they believe as well that liberal men like Mr. Taiwo here, who allow their women, you know, do what they want to do and all of that, actually, such situations actually cause the issues and the problems that marriages, you know, encounter. Yeah. Would you say that's, you know, true or false?
I wouldn't say it's either true or false, because it can be true for the person that is, you know, proposing that. But what I'll say is that I've worked with a lot of women who are emotionally down. We have a lot of married women that are depressed. And part of when they come into sessions and you're working with them, you find out that a lot of them are depressed because they are not living the life they wanted to live. Some of them either had a dream of either doing what Sandra is doing or working somewhere, and they got married and the husband says, you know what, I don't want you to work. Whatever they're going to pay you, there's a medical doctor, and the husband said, I don't want you to work. So what is the highest pay you would ever earn as a medical doctor? I will pay you that to sit at home. The woman wasn't happy. I mean, that wasn't the life she wanted. So if you're looking at that, you also look at the other angle. That's why I said that marriage is two people coming together to support each other to become the best that they can ever be. And so if that human angle goes away, somebody is dying for the marriage to live. And so what do you want to do in that case? For me, I always say that people should have those discussions before marriage. Yes, I agree that somewhere down the line, someone can deviate from previous agreements, but at least you have a basic understanding of where this person is coming from. And one thing also people should know is that when you get into a marriage with a man, especially around this environment, I'm talking about the Nigerian context, please try to make sure that this man has an authority figure that he listens to. It's a dangerous thing when a man does not have anyone who can call him to order, where he's the one who says everything and there's nobody that he respects that he can listen to his counsel. So that when he goes back on whatever you agreed, you can call on this person he respects and
right now,
get
let's
his views.
hear from the audience. Let's hear you, sir.
I quite agreed with most of our points. My comment is, first I must say love is a choice, it's not a feeling. Yeah. Then secondly, I will say that marriage is a good thing, take it or leave it. Marriage is a good thing, take it or leave it. Then I will say the problem is not the marriage, the problem is the people in the marriage. For example, this is a empty grass cup. If you put water in it, it becomes a glass of water. If you put poison in it, it becomes a glass of poison. The same thing with marriage. The problem is the people in it, not the marriage itself. Thank you very much.
All right.
Coming up next on the show.
Apart from domestic violence, what other thing can make a marriage break up?
Here's my question. It's a very simple question, because from your views, are you a philosopher, and do you believe in God, or do you fear God? That's my question. From your views.
Establish yourself, make yourself, you make yourself to a certain point in life that you become every man's dream.
Whatever you meet in a package of chocolate, you please agree with it. Thank you. I'm talking about marriage. I'm of the opinion that infidelity shouldn't cause a marriage to break up, whether from the man or from the woman. Depending, just like you said, the way you treat infidelity. But the problem I have is finding out that men enjoy infidelity. And a man practically told me that this man he cheats on the wife. I see it. But he monitors the wife to the place she does anything to make sure that the woman
She's not cheating.
So how do we draw the balance? Another thing I want to get from here is at what point, because there are times we say things in theoretically, they are not practical. So at what point, apart from domestic violence, what other thing can make a marriage break up?
Work.
She said something about the husband monitoring the wife, and I just want to drop a little thing there. People cheat for different reasons, and so time may not permit us to begin to give the different reasons why people cheat. But for the scenario you just described, it shows some signs of insecurity on the part of the man. So I don't know why he's cheating and why he's but monitoring his wife shows some sign of insecurity on his part, and it's something that can be worked on. You know, the way people sniff cocaine and marijuana, some people are using cheating as a coping mechanism. So until you are able to substitute it with something else, you may not be able to help that person. So for each of such people, they should submit themselves to therapy or to a marriage counselor who can help to work them out of that.
Okay. All right, let's have the next question. Yeah.
I support Ms. Annabelle 100% because there is a difference between theory and practical.
Yeah.
In Sigmund Freud's theory, we have the id, the ego, and the superego in psychology.
Yeah.
That is what is affecting marriage. When you come and say you want to marry a woman, you want her to leave her husband, her father's house to come and do your missus, give birth, do this, do that. Of course, it's a very good thing. When we go to marriages, we all like it. She not gets into the house after some years because a foolish friend, sorry to say, pardon my grammar, advises you that, oh, this is how I do it in my house, whereas he doesn't do it that way. You now come, you change the whole ball game. Please, I want this to be like a medium to women. Now, when it comes to sex before marriage, I agree on a point. The reason why I agree on a point is that pastors do hear a lot of stories. When you don't test drive what you want to live with, I'm sorry to say it that way, you come and complain that it's too big, or she doesn't like it, or it's too small, is this, that. Whatever you meet in a package of chocolate, you please agree with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
One thing I believe it should be one of the most important thing or reason why you should venture into this journey called marriage is joy and peace. Not really children, but joy and peace. So now, if, for example, I want to get married to somebody I love, and before I can tell you I love you, you have gotten to that level where faith, this thing they call faith, F-A-I-T-H, is not what is carrying me along because of the tyranny that comes from that certainty. It comes from verification, testing, and proving. But in the long run, the devil now ventures into your home or relationship through probably the guy because he goes to pastors for advice. Now, you made a statement that going to counseling. She made a statement about pastors. What will you like to say in this thing? That is just mine.
All right. We appreciate the work that religious organizations, pastors, imams have been doing because there was a vacuum in that space and the people who were trusted tried to fill the vacuum. But it's important that we should understand that marriage counseling, relationship work is a professional job the same way you have people go to school to train to become doctors, lawyers, and engineers. There are people who have been schooled to help people build relationship. So when people have relationship issues, we have made the religious homes our first port of call, but it shouldn't be so. Even when people have financial issues, they go to the pastor. The pastor is not a financial advisor, but it's because the burden has been on them and they've tried how to work it out. So I'm encouraging us that we should look out to take our relationship issues to professionals, people who have been trained to handle that. So it's important that we understand that counseling is a profession. I mean, if your child is sick or needs to be operated on, while you may go to your pastor to pray for you, you will not go to your pastor to carry out the surgery. So that is how it is.
This is my question. It's a very simple question because from your views, are you a philosopher and do you believe in God or do you fear God? That's my question. From your views. That's all.
Serious
One
question.
answer, one sentence.
Because of what
I
you're
believe in
saying.
God
I fear God.
and I fear God wholeheartedly. But that is relative, depending on the side you want to see it. There are lots of sentiments in religion, either of the religion you want to put it. Those sentiments, I jettison. I face the fact I'm a realist and I pick things with factual purposes.
Okay, so question answered. Now, let me just get to your final thought. Quickly, please, starting with you, Annabelle.
Okay, like I said before, I'm totally indifferent. Marriage is a beautiful thing. You guys don't get me wrong, please. Marriage is a beautiful and a wonderful thing if you are in it with the right person. If you are in it for the right reasons. A lot of people go into marriage for the wrong reasons. And that's part of the reasons why it doesn't work. But if you feel a need to get married, fine. If you feel that you don't want to get married, like I said, it's a beautiful thing. At the same time, it's not a do or die affair. If you're a woman, go out there, find out what you like, what you love doing, establish yourself, make yourself, you make yourself to a certain point in life that you become every man's dream. We're always hearing a woman's dream, a woman. What about a man's dream? So make yourself that thing that man is actually looking for so that you can become every man's dream.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Mr. Taiwo, final thought.
Marriage is a good thing, but
Yeah.
I agree that it's not a do or die affair. And I believe when people settle down to study themselves deep, it tends to work better than when people put the religious sentiment, like my young man challenged me on now, the premarital stuff. But if you refuse to listen to advice of pastors, you study yourself, do some little cohabiting before it, it tends to work better. If you have studied 1, 2, 3, 4 persons and you think you can't cope, it's better not to go inside than to go into an abusive marriage. But if you think you can cope and you've seen the right fellow,
yeah,
you can go.
Final word,
You're first of all a human being before you decide to take up any roles. So be a man, be a woman, nurture yourself. The humanity in you is what is important. Then the roles you decide to take should be optional, and it's a choice. Don't get married for someone else's reasons. Don't get married to fulfill another man's dream, be it your father, your mother, or whoever. And I believe that if you want to excel in a thing, find people who are excelled in it or are excelling in it. Study them. Get to understand what are the principles, the strategies, the structures, all the systems that they put in place that made it work for them. So if you want to succeed in marriage, get a marriage mentor. Get someone that can tutor you, somebody that can lead you and go all the way. And understand, and I will end with this again, to say that only dead people marry successfully.
Right. Okay, Charles, final thoughts.
I would say marriage is stressful, marriage is overrated. Hustle,
Oh,
make money.
come
Hustle.
on,
This is my
Charles.
opinion. Hustle, make money, stay single, you'll be happy, that's all.
So basically, for me, I believe in marriage. However, like a lot of people who know me know already, I believe in establish yourself, build a brand for yourself, understand who you are, love yourself, attach so much value to yourself such that when you're going into a marriage, you know what, I'm not going in here to take. I'm going in here to give, right? What it's like, you're bringing your experiences, the good ones, right? Just dump the bad ones by the side and just pray for the right person who makes you happy, because at the end of the day, life is basically about happiness. Live your life, be happy, impact someone, feel fulfilled. That's basically what life is about. That's how I feel, right? So, but you can go online to our social media pages, The Inside Out Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Tell us your views on this thing called marriage. What do you think about it? Does it matter to you? Does it not? Are you with Charles? Are you with Annabelle, Taiwo, Mrs. Mobi? Where exactly is your stand, right? And before we wrap up, let's not forget to appreciate our partners on this show: Beauty Biomalicha, Fortney's, Aquadana, KGM Industries Nigeria Limited, Deli Foods, and finally Baker's World. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. And to everyone watching, thank you for always watching and tuning in. Until next time, see you. God bless you.